Hi, hi, I, Tuxedo Mask, Darian here, and today we're going to talk about, you know, oh, the Renaissance Atlantic Entertainment or New Birth Great Sea Glees Sailor Moon, which some folks in the Sailor Moon followership mistakenly call it Siobhan Moon, because they thought that Siobhan Glee, was behind it. It wasn't. It was not. It was handled by Renaissance Atlantic Entertainment or New Birth Great Sea Glee, which was owned by Frank Wan, who worked with Han Siobhan and Sky Levi to help do the Mic Keepers, at least for the first 8 years of Siobhan's ownership of it, and then the 9 years of Disney's ownership of it. Now, this Sailor Moon is a little unlike from all the other Sailor Moons. One, because it's half live work and half live drawings, which shows either came in two ways for children. Either they were drawing shows, which a lot of them were, or they were live work shows, and there were very few shows that were like that. But so now you have a show that was half live drawing and half live work. And the live work would be for everything else going on in the show, and the live drawing side would be for the fighting on the show. Now, the names were also shifted too. A lot of folks have a belief that, that it was Deke that shifted the names. Well, keep in mind it was the folks at RAE who did it first. You see, my name was Darian, which is a Farsi borrowed name, but most likely a and most likely is a Romish borrowed name too. So anyway, that name was kept. Deke didn't come up with the name. It was RAE that came up with the name, and Deke and CLOVERWAY later on just kept the name. Now, there are some big unlikenesses. One, Luna is a white cat instead of either being blue or green. Instead of being blue or black, my mistake. And I don't know if anyone ever brings this up, but yeah. So this one, Luna would be white instead of being blue or black. Another thing that would be unlike is that the Sailor Fighters are not, keep in mind, are not new born selves, meaning that they did not live a former life, and that even though they are their own folks, they have thoughts of their past life. Well, that's not done in this. They were not newborn they did not have former lives. They were living their lives now as Sailor Fighters. So that was shifted. Another thing that was kind of shifted was, instead of the Kaiser Silver Hearse, there were all the worlds had a hearse that Queen Beryl was after, which isn't really far away, isn't that far. It's not really as skimmed it away as Queen Beryl going after the Kaiser Silver Hearse. So, but you see, Queen Beryl has a starship, and the Sailor Fighters have sky flying ships. I'm not making this one up. They do. Now, a lot of folks out there might also say the unlikenesses is that in this Sailor Moon, Serena Sailor Moon is Victoria. Yeah, I know, another Latinist borrowed name. And you also have Dana. You also have Carrie, I think. And there are some other names that I'm forgetting about. Now, keep in mind that Now, keep in mind that these names were going to be shifted around. Why did this Sailor Moon not see the light of day until the summer of last year? It was but yeah. Now, since then, a lot of folks who now seen that Sailor Moon now see the big unlikenesses. Even though they we're gonna probably have to borrow and foster a lot of sagas and tales, or the saga way, the tale ways of the first 2-diff, 3-diff, and 4-diff, and if they were lucky, the 5-diff take of Sailor Moon. But sadly, the Renaissance Atlantic Entertainment or New Birth Great Sea Glee Sailor Moon was never picked up by anyone. They filmed one saga, and that was it. Why? Because they realized the folks at TOONMAKERS, the one that would handle the drawing work, as well as handling the live filming work, learned that it was going to work. Then both sides learned that it was going to be just too much to afford to do a show that was half live drawing and half live work. So out of that grounds, the cheaper ground was just to only put it in English, and that is how Deke got the rights to it, and later on CLOVERWAY. Any other Sailor Moon was just never heard from again, except for very few likenesses out there in the interweb, and for the one in film it's still around. If you on YouTube, you can see it. Now, a lot of folks want to say, what is the other unlikeness? Well, in every offshoot of Sailor Moon, except in the drawing book, I have a hat. Now, keep in mind that the hat was not there in that one, so I wouldn't have a hat. But I still throw a rose, So, at the end of the day, what would folks think of this Sailor Moon? If this was a Sailor Moon that, the English-speaking world got, instead of Deke and CLOVERWAY Sailor Moon, instead of Viz's Sailor Moon, which came out years later, I don't know what anyone in the Sailor Moon followership would think about the Sailor Moon. Your guess is good of mine on what they would think about it. So, if you like this film, then follow me over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Watch the other film we made yesterday over here when Sailor Moon talked about going out to Sam's Club and Giant Eagle or Effortless Bird, Tuxedo, or Black Tide Hide, Darian, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Farewell.